Okay, here we have 1907 Columbus running away happily. This was sold by Gibson Battle in Sydney. It took 14 years to restore. It was a complete wreck when found. There's only one of these running outside of the United States. There's about 12 to 15 exist. As far as anyone knows, this is the only one running on petrol. The other ones are running on LPG and gas. This has a fuel pump fitted, which was still there when the engine was found. This restoration of this engine was finished in 2000, but due to COVID and health issues for myself, this is its first big trip. It's probably the first time it's been out of the Sydney metro area in 116 years. It was being used to drive a pump in a mine, as far as we know, when normally Columbus engines were sold to operate shearing gear, usually Moffat Virtue shearing gear. And the Columbus was restored, like I said, over 14 years, and it was a complete wreck, and lots of parts were missing. And it's taken a lot of work to find all the bits, because there's only about a dozen in the world. There's only 3 in Australia, and this is now the most complete and the only one that's running outside of America. An Australian transport that probably had a Sydney-made one, probably would have had a Lister or something on it originally. We just made it up for the Columbus just so we could move it around, because it's 3 horsepower, but the engine weighs half a tonne. So there's a lot of weight there, so just to be able to make it movable and bring it to rallies, we put some wheels under it. Sitting next to it, running away happily, is my 1911 Fairbanks Morse Eclipse, which I've owned now for 42 years. It was bought for me as a present by my father back in 1980, and it's now been to multiple national rallies, and it always runs very well and very reliably. It's got magneto fitted, probably by the dealers here in Australia. It also has the Fairbanks Morse extension hopper, which is in the parts books, but it's the only one I've ever found with the extension hopper fitted. And so it's now being exhibited at this event by my son, who is 12. So it's a family engine. That's my 2 engines here in Mudgee for the National Rally.
I guess probably the big white letters that say Eclipse, and the fact that it's painted a nice cactus-y green, and maybe the big funnel that sticks out of the top. That's pretty big identifying feature.
Yeah, and even the extension hopper at the funnel on the top is actually a genuine Fairbanks Morse accessory.
And yesterday the Eclipse moved like a couple of feet because of how much of how fast and how much the engine shakes.
So we put a couple of pins in the ground to stop it from moving.
The Old Machinery Magazine. Remember to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified of any new videos.